Good afternoon. This is All India Radio, and I'm Lalema Aneja Dang with the Midday News. The headlines. Counting of votes for assembly elections underway in Tripura, Meghalaya and Nagaland. BJP and its ally IPFT heading towards victory in Tripura, ruling NDPP BJP set to retain power in Nagaland and Meghalaya heading towards a hung assembly. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses G20 foreign ministers meeting, says world looks upon G20 to ease challenges of growth, development, financial stability and food security. Supreme Court rules selection of Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioners to be done by a committee comprising Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition and CGI. 8th edition of Raisina Dialogue to be inaugurated by Prime Minister in New Delhi this evening. And in cricket, Australia bowled out for 197 in their first innings against India on day 2 of the third test at Indore. Counting of votes for assembly elections in Tripura, Nagaland and Meghalaya is underway amidst tight security. As per the trends available, BJP-IPFT alliance is heading towards victory in Tripura, while ruling NDPP-BJP combine is set to retain power in Nagaland. Meghalaya is heading towards a hung assembly, with ruling NPP emerging as the single largest party. In Tripura, trends are available for all the 60 seats. Ruling BJP-IPFT combine is leading in 34, CPM Congress Alliance in 14 and Tipra Mota in 12 seats. Chief Minister and BJP candidate Dr. Manik Saha is leading in town Bardowali constituency. Let's listen to a report from our correspondent Kunal in Agartala.
The people of Tripura have reposed faith in the double-engine government of the Bharatiya Janata Party and the IPFT. As is evident, people, especially from the weaker section of the society, seems to have voted in large number for the BJP as they are the beneficiaries of the social welfare and development schemes introduced by the central and state governments. Tipra Motha now is not in a position to negotiate terms with the BJP because BJP has got a clear-cut majority. Chief Minister aspirant Dr. Manik Saha is in a tight contest with Ashish Kumar Shah of the Congress. Another important takeaway from this counting day is that Congress stalwart and one of the architects of the opposition alliance, Mr. Sudeep Roy Burman, as expected, is winning with a convincing margin of 8,000 votes.
In Nagaland, trends are available for all the 60 seats. Ruling NDPP-BJP combine is leading on 39 seats, while Naga People's Front NPF is leading on 1, while others are leading at 20 seats. BJP candidate Kazeto Kinimi has already won from the Akuluto constituency unopposed. In Twensang, Sadar 1 constituency, BJP candidate P. Bashang Mongba Chang has defeated his nearest rival and NCP candidate Toyang Chang by a margin of 5,644 votes. In Twensang, Sadar 2, Imti Choba of RPI Athavale has been declared elected. In Noksin constituency, Y. Lima Onen Chang of RPI Athavale defeated H. Chuba Chang of NDPP by a margin of 188 votes. In Shamator Chesor, S. Kyosho Yumchunger of NDPP defeated R. Tohamba of Lok Janashakti Party Ramvilas by a margin of 2,295 votes. Incumbent Chief Minister and NDPP candidate Nephew Rio is leading from Northern Angami 2 Assembly constituency. Our correspondent in Kohima has filed a report.
History has been created in Nagaland today as one female candidate from NDPP party managed to win the 14th Legislative Assembly election. Hikani Jakhalu of NDPP has been declared elected from the Bapu tree with a margin of 1,536 votes. No women candidate has ever registered victory in assembly election since Nagaland 18 T2 since 1963. With Manas Afonyo, AIR News, Kohima.
In Meghalaya, trends are available for 59 seats out of 59. Ruling National People's Party, NPP, is leading on 26 seats, while BJP is leading in 3, Congress in 5 seats, United Democratic Party, UDP, on 10 and others on 15 seats. Here's a report from our correspondent.
Surprisingly, the new Voice of People party is leading in 5 constituencies. They are Mawlai, Maringning, Milliam, Nongkrim and North Shillong. All of them are in Khasi region. Though the final results are yet to be announced, the new party has considerably cut the vote of major parties and played a game changer in Meghalaya assembly elections this time. As for the trends available till now, Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma of the NPP is leading by over 2,800 votes over Bernard K. Marak of BJP in South Tura constituency. Former Chief Minister Mukul Sangma of the TMC is leading by a slender margin over his NPP rival Nihim Deshira in Songsa constituency, while trailing in Tikrikila, the Congress Meghalaya President Vincent Pala is among the prominent who are trailing. Lakshmi, AR News, Shillong.
News just in Nagaland, ruling NDPP has won 6 seats, while BJP and RPI Athawale have won 2 seats each. Independents and NPP have secured 2 seats each so far. BJP has attributed the parties and its allies' good performance in Tripura, Nagaland and Meghalaya assembly polls to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Act East policy. Talking to AIR News, party spokesperson Nalin Kohli said the agenda of peace and development as well as proper implementation of welfare schemes have yielded good results.
I think the BJP is broadly poised for being in government in Tripura, and that's what the initial trends are showing, as also in alliance in Nagaland. And in Meghalaya, the party's performance has certainly improved. I think it's a very, very positive scenario for the government, for the BJP as a party, in terms of the good work being done by Prime Minister Modi's government under the Act East policy. Prime Minister Modi has visited the Northeast 51 times. That's a record. More than all Prime Ministers before him visiting the Northeast. 400 plus visits by our ministers. It's an agenda of peace and development in the Northeast.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Northeast Diary program, broadcast every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. brings very interesting and enchanting stories from the 8 Indian states of Northeast India. Northeast Diary this week, on the 2nd of March 2023, brings an exclusive interview with Professor Ashan Riddhi, Head of Department of History, Rajiv Gandhi University, Doimukh in Arunachal Pradesh. Looking forward to seeing you there.
The formal meeting of the G20 foreign ministers under India's presidency began at Rashtrapati Bhavan Cultural Centre in New Delhi today. Addressing the opening segment of G20 foreign ministers through a video message, the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, added that the world looks upon G20 to ease the challenges of growth, development, economic resilience, disaster resilience, financial stability, transnational crime, corruption, terrorism, food and energy security.
In our economies, in our healthcare systems, and in our infrastructure. The G20 has a critical role to play in finding the right balance between growth and efficiency on one hand and resilience on the other. We can reach this balance more easily by working together. That is why your meeting is important. I have full trust in your collective wisdom and ability.
He emphasized that resolutions for issues that cannot be addressed together should not come in the way of those that can be resolved. The Prime Minister underlined that today's meeting is taking place at a time of deep global divisions, and as foreign ministers, it is only natural that the discussions are affected by the geopolitical tensions of the day.
India's G20 presidency has tried to give a voice to the global south. No group can claim global leadership without listening to those most affected by its decisions. Excellencies, you are meeting at a time of deep global divisions. As Foreign Minister, it is but natural that your discussions are affected by the geopolitical tensions of the day. We all have our positions and our perspectives on how this tension should be resolved.
The Prime Minister observed that post-World War, global governance failed in both its mandates of preventing future wars and fostering international cooperation on issues of common interests. He further added that the tragic consequences of this failure are being faced mostly by all the developing countries, and the world is at risk of residing on sustainable development after years of progress. In his opening remarks at the meeting this morning, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar underscored the need to find common ground for the challenges posed by the COVID pandemic, fragile supply chains, ongoing conflicts, debt crisis, and disruption of climate events. He said there are some matters of sharp differences of opinions and views about these global crises, but member countries must find a common ground and provide direction because that is what the world expects out of them. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is chairing the first session of G20 Foreign Ministers meeting. Discussion is underway on contemporary challenges around multilateralism, food and energy security and development cooperation. The second session will focus on new and emerging threats including counter-terrorism and narcotics, global skill mapping and focus on global talent pools. India and Italy have decided to turn their relationship into a strategic partnership. The decision was taken during the delegation-level talks between the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and his Italian counterpart, Giorgia Meloni, in New Delhi today. Addressing the joint press meet, Prime Minister said, "This year, India and Italy are celebrating the 75th anniversary of their bilateral relations, and both the nations have emphasized on further strengthening their economic ties during the talks." Speaking on the occasion, Giorgia Meloni said Italy wants to further boost India-Italy relationship. She said both the countries have decided to turn their relationship in strategic partnership. She also highlighted that bilateral trade has reached €50 billion between both the countries. Earlier, the Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, was accorded the Guard of Honor at the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. Giorgia Meloni is on a 2-day visit to India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the 8th edition of the Raisina Dialogue in New Delhi this evening. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni will join the inaugural session as the chief guest. The 3-day Raisina Dialogue is India's flagship conference on geopolitics and geostrategy. The Supreme Court today ruled that appointment of the Chief Election Commissioner and election commissioners will be done by the President on the advice of a committee comprising the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition in the Lok Sabha and the Chief Justice of India. A 5-judge constitution bench headed by Justice K.M. Joseph said this panel will be enforced until a law in this regard is made by the Parliament. The bench was hearing a batch of petitions seeking reform in the process for the appointment of members of the Election Commission of India. The top court emphasized that the Election Commission has to remain aloof from all forms of subjugation by the executive. The top court emphasized that the Election Commission is duty-bound to act in a fair and legal manner and to abide by the provisions of the Constitution. The Supreme Court set up an expert committee today on the issue arising from the Hindenburg research report on Adani Group companies. The committee will consist of 6 members headed by a former Apex Court Judge, Justice A.M. Sapre. The Supreme Court said the committee shall submit its report in a sealed cover before the court in 2 months. In cricket, Australia were all out for 197 in their first innings against India on day 2 of the 3rd test of the Border Gavaskar Trophy at Indore. They took a lead of 88 runs. For the hosts, Ravindra Jadeja picked 4 wickets while Umesh Yadav and Ravichandran Ashwin bagged 3 each to help India bounce back. India was 79 for 4 in the second innings when reports last came in. India now trail by 9 runs. India were all out for 109 runs in 33.2 overs in their first innings yesterday. India have retained their trophy, winning the first 2 tests of the 4-match series. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Counting of votes for assembly elections underway in Tripura, Meghalaya and Nagaland. BJP and its ally IPFT heading towards victory in Tripura, ruling NDPP BJP set to retain power in Nagaland, and Meghalaya heading towards a hung assembly. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses G20 foreign ministers meeting, says world looks upon G20 to ease challenges of growth, development, financial stability and food security. Supreme Court rules selection of Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioners to be done by a committee comprising Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition and the CJI. And in cricket, Australia bowled out for 197 in their first innings against India on day 2 of the third test at Indore. And with that we end the midday news.